All right, so I've talked about distance method a lot, and I feel as if it deserves its own little video. So, what is distance method? A little blurb right here is, it is for graphing my parabolas using what I know about the distance between points. If that doesn't make sense yet, and you are kind of just wrapping your head around this method, it is based off of what I know about the distance from my parent graph. So we know that every graph outside of my parent graph is stemming from my parent graph. It looks like a regular old parabola. It starts at my vertex of 0, 0. It starts at that vertex. And then I have two essential points outside of them on the right and then two on the left. So here, I'm asking what are my essential points and how much is the distance between these points. So if we have our table of x comma y, remember that y is equal to that x squared. If we have our table and we know our vertex is 0, 0, and we have 2 behind it and we have 2 in front of it for my x values, when I plug it in, I get negative 2 squared, I got 4, I got negative 1, 1, I have 1, 1, and then I have 2, 4. As we can see that this is symmetrical at my vertex, at my axis of symmetry. So my y values become symmetrical from that side. So if we're looking at my parabola and we're talking about just the distance between these points from my vertex to my next point. And specifically, I just want to focus on my distances on the positive side of my graph, on the positive x values of my graph. So if we're looking at this and we're looking at the distance from my vertex, how many units did I go right? I went to the right 1 unit. So from my vertex of 0, 0, from my vertex, I went right 1 unit. That will always stay the same because I don't have any horizontal changes when it comes to the vertical, like how my vertical numbers stretch and shrink. Our horizontal numbers so far do not do that. So this will always stay the same. I will always go right 1. And then my y value that I'm going up from this unit is also 1. In this case, it's 1. However, when we're talking about distance method for every type of problem, for example, if we're talking about number 5 here, if we're talking about number 5, we see that our distance from my vertex, is 2 units in my y values now from this point to this next point. So going off of that, how did it change from going, instead of it going up 1 unit, that's what I was talking about by my upward movement of my y value, up 1 unit, it is being multiplied by something. It is being multiplied by my a value. My a value is informing whether I'm going to be going up 1 or if I'm going down a number or anything like that. But for my parent graph, it is just going up 1 value. And my a value is a positive 1 over here. So this is when a is equal to positive 1 for my parent graph. So when I have no a value in front, for example, do I have all without a value? All of these have a values, never mind. So if I was talking about my negative 2, my negative 2 is informing the fact that I'm going down 2 units. My negative is telling me that I'm going downward. This 2 is telling me that my y value, instead of going up 1, has been multiplied by that a value of negative 2. That a value of negative 2, if we look at it here, a is equal to negative 2. So my y values have changed. My distance has changed. But in this case, my a value is 1. That's why I stayed with 1. This is my second point after my vertex. So my vertex is my first point. And my third point here, this is what I'm going to talk about here. This third point, I'm also going right 1 unit. So this stays the same as the right 1. And then I'm going up how many units? I'm going up not 1, not 2, but I'm going up 3 units. So this is where y is equal to 4. This is where y is equal to 1. I'm going up 3 units. Again, if I have if I have any type of movement of my A value, I would have to multiply it to my Y movements. My up and down is my Y movements. Beautiful. So that's how I use my distance method. If we wanted to use this method, I would check out any of the other questions. I know question 1 from our study guide talks about my distance method, and my question 5 from my study guide talks about my distance method. If you'd like to see it in action, I would see it there. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye, guys.